In the back pocket.
Umpires today, Murray Bird and Hayden Kennedy. And the match underway at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The Swans going left to right in the first quarter. Tunbridge gets a hand to it but can't clear the ruck. The whistle goes and the umpire will have to ball it up again. And of course each team limited to 4 players for the centre bounce, but now for the second bounce there are about 24 players. Tunbridge down to Healy, but he couldn't gather. Tunbridge gets it back and delivers a long kick to East Fremantle recruit to full forward. Fell has the ball punched away. Kennedy after it close to the boundary line. Taken out of bounds. That's Peter Foster actually. And taken out of bounds. Rick Kennedy returning to the seniors today for Footscray after playing in the reserves last week and beating a rap at the tribunal too.
I think they've got some goers on the field, Footscray, by the look of it. If that's any indication. The Swans try to break clear out of that very close contest. Bernard Toohey receiving a fairly obvious free kick. 50 metres from goal is Bernard Toohey. Short pass, a little too high at the back. Kennedy can't quite get his foot to the ball. Bolton, Healy, left foot kick towards full forward to mark on Stevie Wright, the veteran of the Sydney Swans, having started with the original South Melbourne way back in 1979. And this will be a good start to his 200 game if he can pop this one through. Concentration is good. Kick looks good from his point of view. Goal umpire runs across and he misses. So maybe Stevie Wright trying to bluff the goal umpire there, but the first score on the board is a behind to the Swans.
Rick Kennedy, the former skipper of the Bulldogs. Been 2 since then, Steve Wallace, and this year Doug Hawkins. And here's Steve Wallace, another former skipper, taking the mark behind half-back. Eccleston lopes the hand pass over the top. First gamer Leon Cameron from South Warrnambool. Off the left boot, not a great kick. Tunbridge has been prominent early. Gets it wide to Thripp. Just forward of the wing. Centering kick for Bolton. Good mark. He plays on quickly, just outside 50. Bangs it long. Fell one out with Kennedy. Kennedy first back there. Gathers the bouncing ball well and delivers a good pass. Eccleston gathers just inside the line. High kick, no distance. Charles is there. Punch away by Thripp and the ball out of play.
Big raps on that young guy Cameron too, Drew, that was in the picture, in the play just a moment ago. Poor kick by him, perhaps a little nervous. Boundary throw in, half forward flank for the Swans, right on the bottom of the pack. Can't break clear, so the umpire will bounce. Terry Wallace picking up Greg Williams too, Don.
Yes, and staying rather close too.
Yes, very important that he cuts Greg Williams out. Ruck contest, a pretty poor effort there by Tunbridge, running straight at the Footscray ruckman, young Justin Charles, and Charles takes the free kick at half-back. The short pass in the direction of Wigney. He's a goer. McGuinness, good gather. Hand pass to Wallace. Wallace gets rid of it pretty quickly. Torpedo punt kick to full forward. Colin diving on the football in the last line of defence was Neagle, and the umpire will come in and bounce. It's about 30 metres out from the Footscray goal, and the Bulldogs deep into attack.
And that's the way Terry Wallace has got to play. Start with Williams, then pick up kicks, make Williams chase him.
Tunbridge again, but his knock goes to Georgiadis. He's pulled down in a great tackle, and the crumbs come away to Higgins, and the tackler there was Wheeler. The kick goes out of bounds on the full, so it'll be a Footscray free kick, and nearly within goal-scoring distance for Tony McGuinness.
Hard to find space, Drew, down in that forward line on such a small ground. A lot of players, very congested forward line. That's why he's taking so long to kick the ball.
McGuinness round onto the left, doesn't go for goal, centering kick. Up high, almost a great mark to Grant. Paid. The youngster, whom we saw last week for the first time, a 17-year-old Chris Grant, has it right in front.
Well, questionable as to whether he actually did control it. Got 2 hands to it, but just didn't control it and bring it to ground.
So Grant right in front. Man on the mark, 35 metres from goal. Be a great boost to the Bulldogs if they can get the first goal. Grant's kick is good.
In 1899, Alexander Duckham started making this product. Since then, it's helped achieve the impossible. Altitude records, world land speed records, and that great engineering breakthrough, the East-West engine. Today, this extraordinary product is so good...
The oil, sir.
...that Duckham's will actually double your car's engine warranty. Duckham's Oil. Double your engine warranty.
Well, from the bounce, no one can really do much with the ball. So we'll have another bounce just a couple of metres away from the centre circle. I felt Grant was a very fortunate man to get that mark. Bounce probably favours Tunbridge. Bolton's half a chance. He gets the hand pass out to Stevie Wright. Handball in turnover to Williams. 50 metres from goal. Greg Williams, there it is again. There he is, a light in the early minutes of the quarter. Greg Williams a goal.
Well, I wonder whether Terry Wallace was 10 yards or 10 metres behind. You can see the score there. 1-1-7 Sydney. One solitary goal to Footscray. 1 point the difference. And here's the handball. Now there's Williams signalling with the hand up. And Terry Wallace 10 metres behind. You really have to tighten up.
In the centre, and the Swans leading by a point after Williams' goal. Tunbridge again, but can't clear the ruck. And once again, I think we'll have another ball up.
Interesting to see Stephen Wallace twice in the early part of the game in those centre bounces, getting the ball at the bottom of the pack.
And they give the tap to Tunbridge again. Bolton's kick smothered. Tunbridge in there doing some heavy bullocking. Charles slips it across to Hawkins for the captain's first touch. Wheeler in front. May have gone for the mark, but punched down to the front. Here's Cameron. Ridden into the ground by Thripp. Wigney. Back to Cameron. Cameron bowled over by Bolton, so he's finding out the pressure of league football in a hurry, and this will be a ball up.
Very solid initiation. If you remember last year that it was Thripp who really laid a heavy tackle on O'Brien from Essendon in his first game, and he's just laid another heavy one, not as heavy as the one he did on O'Brien last year.
Higgins takes the ball over the boundary line. McGuinness just arriving on the scene a little late. And there's a bit of an idea of the crowd in the member stand here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Swans leading by a point in the early part of the game. And conditions pretty good. So no excuse here at the on this surface. Bolton can't get out. Stephen Wallace can't get out. Williams gets a sweeping hand pass. Matthew Hogg, usually a pretty good goer for Footscray. Kick towards centre-half forward. Wigney. He's dispossessed well by Neagle. But helping him out is Georgiadis. Georgiadis just gets his left foot to the ball. Up towards full foot. Is that nearly a Footscray mark? McGuinness could have nearly kicked it off the ground. Playing it in front of himself was Carter. And like the guardian he is of those goals, Rod Carter sees it over the line.
Actually, McGuinness took the mark off Grant. Grant had the chance to get the second touch.
Boundary throw in the right forward pocket. Tunbridge again. McGuinness, snapshot, smothered. Kick off the ground by Bayes, just goes past Wigney. Another kick off the ground, finds the safety of the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in very close to the 50-metre line. Mark Bayes transferred to centre-half forward in the dying minutes of the game last week, or the second half, probably, against Carlton, lining up at centre-half back.
Higgins doing the defensive work. Pretty tough at ground level. Down goes Mark Williams, former Carlton player, number 28. The umpire will ball it up again.
Interesting the way that Sydney is lining up. They've got two forwards in their particular forward line. The majority of the rest of the team are up over the centre line. So very open forward line for Sydney. So what they're hoping to do is get the ball very quickly out of this ruck.
Footscray very committed. Great to see.
Yes, Tony McGuinness has been in the thick of things. Plenty of touches last week, but didn't come to much. Here's Collingham just inside 50. Hooks back towards the goal square. Georgiadis marks and goals.
No, Drew. That was the definite push. The definite push against Georgiadis just as he went to take that ball on Wheeler.
So the free kick to be taken by Matthew Wheeler, and it's a 50-metre penalty. He doesn't use all of the 50, used about 35. Up short of half forward. Thripp and Eccleston, 2 number 12. And another ball up, so the umpire's been pretty busy throwing the ball into the turf, but it's great to see the Sydney Cricket Ground in such good conditions. Only a few weeks ago they had the Sheffield Shield Grand Final here. But since then it's pelted with rain, and we really thought we might get a bit of a swimming pool today, but it's some great things. Oh, Greg Williams takes it away from Mitchell's hand pass. Foster in there doing the spoiling. And that will be a ball up on the 50-metre line. The Swans back into attack, and the Swans leading by a point with...
Right on that 50-metre line. Williams can't quite get the ball out effectively. Bolton, kick. Is that a mark? Yes, it is. Paid to Foster between the fullback and centre-half back position. He gets the hand pass off to Matthew Hogg. Hogg's kick out towards Cameron, but over the top, the big man for the Swans.
Very impressive. Very impressive, Ian.
Yes, he looks pretty good, Don. You mentioned before we even started that he was a likely looker. The kick up towards half forward. Is that a Footscray mark? Foster been paid, coming from behind. Foster, the aerialist in the Footscray side, elects to go long over the centre, but the mark again taken by Tunbridge. Gets the hand pass away. Mitchell off to Healy. Healy hand passes over the top, looking for Williams. Williams takes it. He's caught. Somehow gets the ball out, but Foster picks it up quickly. Neil Cordy can't mark. Collected by Mitchell, trying to swing his way out of trouble. There's 4 Swans to 1 Footscray player, and the 1 Footscray player wins out, and that's young Cameron. He does it pretty well. McGuinness bounces, but luckily for him, it came back to him twice. Approaches the 50-metre line, kicks it to the front of the square. Footscray's a real chance here. Grant couldn't quite mark.
Oh,
it's been played again. Well, Don, what do you think of that one?
Another questionable one. It wasn't a great work by young Cameron on the wing. He was outnumbered 1-4. He got the ball down in favour. It was McGuinness who sent the long ball down. And another questionable one. You can see there the Footscray runner running out to Wigney. A little bit of an altercation between the runner and Wigney as Grant lines up for his second.
But Grant, only a matter of 15 metres out, favouring the right foot. He hooks it. Disappointing result for the young fellow. His first goal was a good one. This time he misses from a very, very close range.
It's a big ask, isn't it, Ian, for a young fellow of 17 years to play at full forward or centre half forward, anywhere on the forward line in those 2 positions, because it takes a very mature, strong player to hold down those positions consistently.
Yes, and in a side particularly that's struggling, like the Bulldogs.
Now there's another interesting one. There's Wheeler being awarded a free kick. He was being held by Georgiadis on the break. They were playing the huddle, the Swans.
I'll tell you what, they've nearly messed this up, but somehow Carter's going to get out of trouble. Gives the hand pass off to Bolton. Bolton, oh, they're putting players under pressure everywhere, but Higgins helped out by Bolton. Bolton's kick towards half forward has been marked by West, and really, would you say that was a little bit of good fortune? Well, maybe I would. West, from just inside 50 metres, goes for goal. The long drop punt kick's going to go close to the line. It's helped through by Kennedy, and a behind on the scoreboard to the Swans.
Jim West playing at centre half forward on Peter Foster. 1 point the difference. The Swans in front, and Rick Kennedy to kick in towards the outer side. Charles is there. Thump to the front. Steve Wallace. Good gather. Terry Wallace. Hand pass is blocked. Bernard Toohey in there, and the umpire will ball it up.
Terry Wallace there perhaps should have gone for the first option, which was, I thought, was a quick kick. Tried to duck 1 tackle and was caught quickly.
In between wing and half forward for the Sydney Swans. Comes away to Hogg. His kick back to centre wing. Neagle puts the spoil on Collinuk. No clever tap up the ground, but it's chopped off by Liberatore. Drives it long to full forward. Charles again. Wheeler at the back. Gathering well. Matthew Wheeler, well played. Long kick to centre half forward. Big pack. Soccer off the ground. Umpire in the way. Give the possession to the umpire. Wallace might have taken one in the back. Oh, no whistle on that play. Potter, there'll be a whistle on that. The free kick to Greg Williams, 50 metres out.
It's unfortunate you said there was no whistle on. The umpire had his whistle to the mouth, played the advantage Footscray's way. It just didn't come off. Unfortunate. It's finished up with Sydney. Williams free.
Greg Williams kicked the Swans' first goal. kicked 7-1 in a game up here last year, a game in which he had over 50 possessions. Could he do it again today? Won't make the distance. Offline. Oh, it's a mark. Yes, the mark paid just inside the field of play to Shane Fell. And Fell, who kicked 5 goals in his league debut last week. Century goal kicker in Tasmania. Now, how's he going to see daylight between the posts here?
He really should come back a bit.
I think he should come right back on the fence and then just a couple of steps out, open up the goal face. Nonetheless, he's got a bit of confidence.
Bangs a banana kick across the face, through for a behind.
The Footscray are very competitive so far in the game. I think their concentration is going to be questioned as the game progresses.
Their losing margin up here, Ian, is about 50 points.
Yes, well, certainly they're playing against a pretty good side who play this Sydney cricket ground pretty well. The kick in by Kennedy finds Terry Wallace. Terry Wallace, recuperative powers must be pretty good because he was replaced at half-time in the match last week against St Kilda, and here he is playing the following week. A great play by Tunbridge. Tui's well caught. Chance now for Charles, promising youngster, but his kick falls short. Williams marks, off to Murphy. Murphy's kick towards centre-half forward. Swans mark, it's Fell. Now Fell, is he too far out? I think it's a little more deceiving here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. He goes for the short pass. Oh, they may have messed this up. Kennedy composed. Very confident, Rick Kennedy. Short pass is effective. Whitney. Now Footscray have a chance through Williams at centre-half forward. Goes for the pass. It's blocked off. Carter under pressure. Colin Grant. Opportunity now for McGuinness. Hits the post. Unbelievable, Footscray. You don't have to be stiff to be dead.
Well, actually, that was looking like being a Sydney Swans goal up at the other end, and Fell's short pass to Gerard Healy just dropped too short. Neagle, that's a shocker by Neagle. Now, can Murphy keep it in? Well, he does very well indeed, David Murphy, state player. Away to Higgins. Murphy, a state player for Victoria. This year he'll be a state player for New South Wales against Victoria. Off the ground by Keenan Reynolds, who was nabbed by Footscray under the eyes of Essendon and playing his first game. There's the doc in a country practice. And the whole cast by the looks of them. Murphy. Left footer by Murphy inside 50. Healy the only chance for the Swans. Comes to the front to Hogg. Can't beat the tackle, a beauty. Ball spills out. We'll have a throw in.
And just picking that one up, Don, it looks like Stephen Wallace has got the job of Gerard Healy.
I was just thinking that the same, and maybe he's following into the centre bounce and then going to the half-back flank, and Healy playing on the half-forward flank, Ian.
Boundary throw in, Charles gets the tap out, and a free kick. It was a pretty crude effort there on Matthew Hogg by the Swans player, so Matthew Hogg will take the free kick for Footscray. At half-back, Hogg's kick towards centre wing. No mark taken. Ball comes off from Mitchell to Williams. Williams kick towards full forward. Fell can't mark. Goes after it again. Leaving it behind was Wallace. Kick off the ground. Finishes up with Healy. Swoops on the opportunity now. There's 2 or 3 Swans players that could swoop on this. Tui, but he can't get clear. Foster there for Footscray. So we'll have a bounce. It's about 25 metres from the Swans goal. And the Swans at this stage lead by 1 point. Swans 1-3. Bulldogs 1-2.
McGuinness doing the roving in the back pocket. Ball beats him out of play. Boundary throw in. So low scoring, 1 goal each. The Swans 1-3, Footscray 1 goal 2. In good conditions, might be a little bit spongy though. Steve Wallace buried by Gerard Healy. Eccleston there, and another ball up. So I think the umpires have had most of the possessions in the first term. This is close to goal for the Swans. Tunbridge doing well. Tui, and once again McGuinness takes it out.
Very hard, Drew, for these players to get the ball away. No matter whereabouts on the ground it is, there is a real congestion around the ball. And maybe the ruckman, if they ever get a fist on it, should just thump it clear and just open it up and hope it runs their way.
Well, this is perhaps the way that Footscray are going to combat the Swans. Stevie Wright, a good kick to the front of the 10-metre square. Attempted mark there by Rick Kennedy, foiled by Shane Fell, and the ball hurried through for a rush behind to the Swans. 1-4 plays 1-2, and I think today's football, if you allow a team like the Swans to get clear, they can cut you apart. And that's Footscray's tactics, has got to be defensive. Wallace marks the kick in. That's Terry Wallace. His short pass to Stephen Wallace. His short pass to Greg Williams. Unfortunately, he's on the opposite side. The kick in short, and a good mark taken for the Swans by Mitchell. Perhaps a little too far out to score. Barry Mitchell, we saw him in the dying minutes of the game. He's done it again. Last week he did exactly the same thing. Handball to Murphy. Murphy goes bang. It's close. It's very, very close. It's a goal.
McEwen's Big League Bargains are on. We're working flat out to bring you the best. Right now you can paint your doors, windows and trims for free. Yes, free. Buy 4 litres of Taubman's Easy Coat vinyl in satin, flat or low sheen for $31.99, and we'll kick in a Big League bonus 1 litre can of Taubman's Gale-On enamel worth $19.40. Save $7 on Taubman's 4 litre ceiling paint at crazy $26.99. Hurry, this offer is strictly limited. So head into McEwen's today. You're a winner every week with Big League Bargains store-wide.
The Swans now double Footscray's score. Greg Williams doing the hard work at ground level. Doug Hawkins disappointing last week and caught holding it this time. Quickly taken by Murphy out of the middle. Inside half forward. Fell a big climb but couldn't take the mark. Healy there. Kennedy beats Fell. Just past Greg Williams. Terry Wallace gets a good hand pass out to Cameron. Cameron off the left boot over centre wing. Wigney's ball by Bays comes to Bolton. And the Swans covering the SCG pretty well. Bolton up towards the 50-metre line. West went up but couldn't mark. Eccleston caught by Thrip and a good tackle. It comes back to Reynolds. Now Williams for Footscray. Oh, a fluke that was. It goes to Wine. The hand pass into Wigney. Wigney from 52 metres hooks the kick badly, and it's out of bounds on the bounce in the forward pocket.
Well, that could have been interesting. Scott Wine has only just come on the ground, replacing Justin Charles, and with a little bit of composure could nearly have kicked the goal within seconds.
Actually, it was a bad kick by Wigney. He was going like a raging bull at that stage. He should have just steadied for that section, that fraction, and at least scored.
Now Wigney forced to do the ruck work. Swans defence under pressure. Collinute comes out to Williams. Williams from 40 metres goes goalwards, and he's kicked it. A goal to Footscray. So Mark Williams' first goal, Footscray second. Sydney 2-4, lead the Bulldogs 2-2.
Well, he's one of those players, Mark Williams, who's a real solid competitor. He's always there. He's always doing something. He doesn't cop the plaudits that are rewarded to a lot of players, but he's always there. 3 goals last week. A solid performance since he's come from Carlton.
You'd call him a scrounger, wouldn't you, in football terms? 16 plays 14. Liberatore pulled off it by Stevie Wright. A real struggle at the centre circle. David Murphy can't get clear. Attempted kick off the ground by West. Now it's at centre half forward for Footscray. Williams a chance again, but intercepting well as Higgins. Higgins screams out towards that left side. The kick is a poor one. Stephen Wallace, hand pass, Liberatore. Scott Wind, another poor kick by that player. Out wide to half forward. The attempted gather by Collinute. He does tunnel ball style through his legs, trying to get it back to Wigney. Bays is the tackler. Attempted kick off the ground by Bolton. McGuinness is a little bit more adept at controlling the football, and McGuinness rather, rewarded with the free.
Shouldn't have McGuinness got that ball off quicker and got it across to the young Cameron, who was there in front. Tried to do maybe just a little bit too much on that time, Tony.
McGuinness's kick towards centre half forward. Marking contest, the Swans defence, a good punch. Liberatore, a gather with the right foot kick towards full forward. A good mark taken by Murphy in front of Hawkins.
A good battle between these two. Hawkins had his colours lowered last week, and Murphy's playing, well, not too bad at this moment.
Higgins goes across to Wright. Wright delays the hand pass, eventually to Potter. Potter puts it wide to Mitchell. And the Swans ran it out of defence pretty well. Mitchell a longer kick to half forward for Healy, who's been pretty quiet so far, Gerard Healy. And the ball out of play in between wing and left half forward.
Well, he's playing in the graveyard. That's named the half forward flank, Drew, so it's pretty hard to pick up a kick there.
kicking skills have looked down a bit today. The breeze mostly across the ground, maybe slightly favouring the Swans in this first quarter. Liberatore claims the free kick. Terry Wallace gets it back to Liberatore, who lost it in the tackle. Picked up by Mitchell. The umpire saw a trip there. It's a Footscray free to Tony Liberatore. Puts the hand pass out wide. Eccleston. High kick, not great distance. Tunbridge is there. A wrestle with Hawkins. The umpire will sort it out with the ball up again. Deep into the first quarter here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Still low scoring. 2-4 to 2-2. The Swans lead by 2 points.
It's not pretty football, but interesting stuff. Tunbridge doing the ruck work for the Swans. Over the top with his wind. He just gets his left foot to the ball. Collected by Neil Cordy. The long left foot kick towards centre-half forward. No mark taken. Stanfield under pressure. Gets it towards Foster. Foster perhaps pushed. Play allowed to go on. And Tripp somehow gets clear, but his kick is well smothered by Eccleston, and Eccleston goes after it and sees it over the boundary line. So the Bulldogs doing pretty well. They're frustrating tactics, just getting on the nerves of the Swans players at the moment, I would think. Boundary throw in 50 metres from goal.
Smother on the boot there, but it's going to be a free kick here to Wind, who's been prominent since he came off the bench. Slides away the hand pass to Liberatore. Across goals they go. Foster, his left footer. Healy, a good punch away. Excellent football against Reynolds, and the ball out on the 50. David Bolton applauding the work of Gerard Healy. 16 to 14, the Swans in front. Here's the youngster in his first game, Leon Cameron. Punched by Neil Cordy, and the ball goes out. And that draws applause from his teammate too, Stevie Wright, with a pat on the rump to Neil Cordy. Smallish crowd here today at the Sydney Cricket Ground, but a few alternative attractions like the Royal Sydney Show next door at the showground. Oh, high tackle on Liberatore. And the umpire said, "You're holding the ball, son."
Interesting.
So the free quickly taken by Wright with the hand pass to Bolton. Up inside 50. Crumb gatherer Williams. Great vision. Great running Healy. Goal coming up. Might have been a bit lucky how it started with the free kick, but didn't the Stars cap it off. (3-4 to 2-2).
Well, you couldn't possibly say that that was just interesting, that decision.
Watch here as Williams, now I like the way he dummied the hand pass. He went right, then went left and found Healy all by himself. There's nothing really Reynolds could do because that ball was put on a plate. Good handball. Terry Wallace will just have to start and go for the ball, not worry so much about Williams.
Swans by 8 points. Terry Wallace attempting to get out. The advantage is paid. The kick smothered. Hawkins out to McGuinness. McGuinness's hand pass backwards to Eccleston. Eccleston kicks the ball towards centre-half forward. No mark taken. Georgiadis beaten for it by Wheeler. Wheeler's quick kick. Scott Wine comes off to Cameron. Cameron's kick into the forward line. The mark is to Grant, and that certainly was a mark to Chris Grant. He's about 40 metres from goal. And opportunity to kick his second one for Footscray.
Well, you just look at Grant when he gets up here, and also have a look at young Cameron on the wing. Two youngsters. You can see the difference in physique between them and the more experienced players. They haven't done a season or a couple of seasons of weights, and consequently their bodies just haven't developed.
There's the quarter-time siren as Chris Grant kicks for goal, and he kicks accurately. Has it got the distance? Goal umpire right on the line. Yes. So a goal kicked by Grant on the quarter-time siren. The Swans lead by 2 points. The Swans 3-4-22. The Bulldogs 3-2-20.